Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this part, I believe this is part 4. In this part 4 of this employee onboarding form, we are going to be creating the admin section. So this is the part where the HR only has access to, and they're going to come into this form and be able to view who's onboarded and kind of where they are in the process. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to go create a new screen. So up here, use a blank screen. And let's name our form. We want to get in the habit of naming our screen, not form, screens. So there's our screen. Let's go in here and add a header at the top. So I'm going to grab this. I want to grab this rectangle just for a background. There you go. And then I'm going to add a label. And it's going to have the word admin. And let's stretch it the width of the background. Admin. There you go. And let's make it bold. Let's center it. And let's change the text to white. Let's also add the name of the user. So let's come here and we're going to say, we're going to use the function user, and we want specifically the full name. And let's change this to white as well. And let's center it. So there you go. All right, so now let's add our gallery. Okay, so let's add this. Did I add the gallery? Let's add a gallery, a vertical gallery. And this gallery is going to, this is going to hold all of the employees in a list format. So let's bring it up a little bit. Right up here, we're going to add our headings. So I want to use buttons for our headings. You can use labels, but I'm going to use buttons. And I'm going to come over here just to make sure. I want to make sure that I give it a little bit of space. So if I say, let me see, is it 55? Oh, that goes up, so 55. There you go. So 59. And then I want to make sure that there is no border. I don't want any border radius. Just give me a straight rectangle. There you go. So now I want to make sure. So the fields that I want a couple of columns for me. So let's go with employee ID. And then let's kind of copy this. Let's get the next one. So employee ID, let's say employee first. Well, not employee, just say first name. Let's go with, okay, so now let's change this to last name. Okay. And let me see, let's add work email. Let's add, I'm going to add some other, let's add job title. Oh, let's add two more things. So let's add, this is going to be our job title. Job title. And then I want to be able to add, what can I add? Let's add edit, so they can be able to edit. And when they click on the edit icon, it'll take them to the form so they can see details. And then let's add one last thing. Status. And this will give them the ability to change the status. Well, actually, you know what? Let's archive. Actually, let's yeah, status. So the status would be either active or inactive. So you can be able to, it'll be a drop down. You can be able to change the statuses. So now let's come in here and let's start adding our fields. So we're going to have our employee ID. So we're going to start creating our data columns here. I'm not too concerned about matching them up now. I'll probably match it up later, but let's just kind of add everything. So let's come in here, click label. So there is the first one. Ah, I see why it's doing lorem ipsum, because that's not my ID column. It's doing this item, that sample heading, and it is because, let me click on gallery. Yep. So right now the data source, oops, it's not pointing to the right data source. This is my data source that I want. So if I come here, data source, there you go. So there, that's what I need. So this the employee ID. Okay, let's center all of these. And now let's go get another label. And this label is going to be our first name. Employee first name. Here's our employee last name. Last name. And then here's our work email. So we're going to say work email. And remember, this is looking for the internal name of the list column. And so because this is a people in group column, you know, it has properties. So the property that we want is display name. That field is blank, and that's why we don't see it. And I bet you if I do this, we may see some. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't want display name. I'm glad I did that. We want email. So we want email. There you go. Email. So let's see if we can. Now, because the email is so long, I'm going to, let's keep it. I was going to get rid of it, but let's keep it. Copy, paste. And then let's come here. And we're going to change this to job title. Job title. And then we're going to change this, matter of fact, so let me do this. So what we want here is we want to edit. So let's come in here and let's add an icon. Icon here. And now I think what we want to add here is let's see if we can add a I don't see a drop there you go, drop down. Okay, okay. So there you have it. Now, one thing I want to do is where that we have these little blanks here. Now, in the form, what I'm going to do is make these fields required. Some of them, so that way we don't have these blanks. But to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to come here, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the is blank. So let's go if, and let's use the is blank formula, and all it does is checks to see if this field is blank and returns a Boolean true or false. So if it is, then we want to put an A, and if it's not, let's just go ahead and display that item because it isn't blank. So job title. There you go. So boss. Okay, so that's what we want. Let's do this. Awesome. So now that we've gotten this far, what I want to do next is, I'm going to change this to HR employee onboarding, and then here I can probably say let's concatenate it. There you go. Okay. Let's see how this is shaping up. Okay, this is looking good. Okay. So now what we want to do now is when we click on this here, we want to be able to take it to a form. And we already have the form. It's this form here, the user form. So when a user clicks, when the admin person clicks on it, it's going to bring them to this form, and it's going to populate it with data. They can add stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way we do that is select it. On our on select, we're going to come here and we're going to say navigate to user form. Now when we navigate to user form, we want to make sure, how is this form going to know which item, right? We have to tell it which item. So let's click on that again, and we're going to say, so navigate to user form. Let's do a different, like a transition style, doesn't matter. Let's do fade. So after this fade, it can take a third parameter, and it says context, an optional context record to be passed to the target screen. So the way to pass a record to the target screen, it's going to be, what is it? It's going to be like this. Let's give it a name. Well, the name we want to use, let's go to this form. So because this form, if you remember when one of our other previous videos, we did a deep linking, and it that deep linking, let me come here. We grab the ID from the parameter and the query string, and we pass it to this. We pass the whole list item or record to this onboarding list global variable, and then what we do is on this screen we set the item to that onboarding list item. So when we navigate from our admin screen to this, we need to make sure this name is the same. And so the way what we're going to do is here, we're going to use the same name. So we're going to say this, right? Now, how do we pass this? We need to pass this item specifically to our user form. And all you got to do is this item. And that's it. Close it. So when they click on it, it's going to open up this form, navigate to it, and pass this item to that form. So let's see if this works. Bruce Banner is the ID. There you go, Bruce Banner ID. Let's go back. One thing we didn't do, let's make sure we put a back button. Let's put a back button here. So let's come here, so that way we can go back from where we came from. So back Let's use this one. You can use whatever you want, but let's use that one. Let's change the color. There you go. And let's just say back. I think that's right. Back. Okay. All right, let's test that out again. There you go. There you go. All this should be blank. Let's come here. Yep, it's working. It's working. Okay. And I want to do one more thing here. I want to move this save up here. I don't know. I like it I like it up there. I like it there. Let's change it to white. You know, it all depends on your requirements with your client. They may not like it up there, but I like it up there. And then I can kind of increase the real estate of this form. There you go. Okay. So let's go back. So we've done that. Let's also see. Let's come in here. Let's also see. Let's say job title. Let's put in job title. So let's say job title full. Let's say SharePoint / full stack developer. And let's save. Okay. Thank you for filling out the form. We can change that verbiage. And let's go back and see. There you go. It populates it. So now that's working. So it looks like that's working. So now let's give this a try here. Okay, let's see what's going on with the dropdown. So with the dropdown, what we want to show right now, it's showing these numbers. We don't want that, so we need to change the item. So it has this dropdown sample that is automatically put there when you add a dropdown. So let's change that. Let's make it an array. So to do that, we're gonna say active, inactive. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's there. I want to add a space. So let's do this. There you go. Okay, excellent. So now what I want to do is once they make a selection, it'll automatically update the SharePoint list. Okay, so let's do that. So let me first show you the list. So here's my list. And here is, all right. So here's my employment status. So this is the employment status, inactive, active, that we need to update. So I'm gonna come here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the on change. And what we need to do is when on change, once it's selected, it needs to do a patch to the database, to the SharePoint list. So the way we do that is we're gonna say patch. And when we patch, what are we patching? We're gonna be is the employee onboarding. It's our list name. And we're gonna do a lookup. Look up employee. So the reason we're doing a lookup, let me do this real quick. So we're doing a lookup where the ID of the list is equal to the ID of the item that we're currently in right now. So this item.id. Okay, we're not done. I just want to break it. So we're doing this lookup, and the reason we're doing this lookup is because we want to make sure we update the right item, the correct item in our SharePoint list. So we want to grab the right item first, and once we do that, then we give it the values that we want to patch. So we say this, comma, and then once we do that, we do a bracket, a record. So we're going to say employee. The name of the field, the column in my list is employee. There you go. Not employee, employment. Employment status. So the name of this dropdown, which is dropdown 1. So we're going to say drop down 1 dot selected, right? So dot selected, and then we're going to say dot value. Okay, and then we're going to close, and then close that. I think we're missing something here. Oh yeah, right here. We need to make sure so employment status, so this is, so we're going to do this, and then its value. Value, okay, there you go. I think that'll work. So let's go over this. Let me bring this down and kind of format it so you can see. So we're patching the employee onboarding list. We're going to look for the item we want to patch. And the way we find the item we want to patch is by filtering, looking up the ID of the current item that we selected, that we clicked, where this dropdown exists. Grab that ID, compare it to this, it'll give us the right one. And then we say we want to update the employment status. And we're going to update the value of this employment status to whatever the drop-down value is. So let's do that. Let's see how that works. I didn't test this out, so let's see. Okay, so we're going to come here and let's do this. Let's say active for Bruce Banner. Oh, what happened? Oh, look at that. It didn't keep. Okay, let's come here and let's say active for John Joe. Active. Okay. All right, let's go to our list and see. And let's refresh real quick and let's see if this works. Okay, it did work. So this truly is Bruce Banner, and this is John Joe. Let's John Doe. Okay, it worked. So that worked. Okay, so now we need to figure out why it isn't sticking. I'll be frank with you all. I have not done this before. So I need to see why this isn't sticking to this value. I need to figure this out myself. So let's stop here, and then in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all these are aligned, proper spacing, make sure the form looks good, and then I'm going to figure out why the value isn't showing here, and then I'm going to come back to this. So thanks for watching. Please like the video. Sorry it took a little bit longer, but thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.